Okay, like school students, welcome back. We're on question 4 on the second part of the speaking for ETS book. Okay, we're going to start on question number 4, and there are 2 parts that you need to worry about. The first one deals with the reading, which basically talks about the things that's going to be covered in the lecture, and they basically give you definitions, okay, of some of the terms that they're going to use. And second, the listening, and in the listening it basically talks about the professor actually talks about the lecture, and he goes more in detail with some of the topics that he's going to use that's related with the term that he has used from the reading. Okay, so let's go over the question first. Here we go. Explain how the examples of tying shoes and learning to type demonstrate the principle of audience effects. Okay? Just from the question that you can notice that the professor will talk about 2 of the examples, right? One is tying shoes, tie your shoes, right? Okay? And also learning to type, okay? And how they demonstrate the principle of audience effects. And audience effect, I'll discuss that from the reading notes. Okay? Here we go. Okay, so notes from the reading first, okay? So it is basically talking about what social interaction is. Okay? In Korean, it's 사회적 상호작용. Okay? All right, so it is concerned with the influence people have over one another's behavior, and also people take each other into an account, and the very presence of others can affect behavior. Okay? So what this basically is talking about is that when you meet somebody, when you confront somebody, you actually talk, you act, or you behave in a certain way. Okay? And it's different based on the conditions that you are in. Okay? That's basically what this is talking about. Okay? All right, let's continue. Okay, this is more important. Okay? So it actually talks about the audience effects. In Korean, it's 관객 효과. Okay? So this says the presence of others tends to alter the way people behave or perform in activity. Okay? From the picture that you can see that this is some form of a hall or auditorium, and many people are sitting there to watch someone speak. Okay? And when that person is in front of all this audience, obviously he'll be nervous, right? He'll probably sweat, and sometimes he might actually talk faster than what he would actually talk when he's in a comfortable environment. Okay? That will be the same way when I'm actually shooting video here. I might be actually a little nervous or say some certain things like too often. Okay? These are some of the behaviors that you will actually see in an audience effect. Okay? In a given condition, do things differently than when you are in a normal situation. Okay? Because you're being watched, and also you recognize that others are watching you. Okay? All right, so let's continue. Okay, so notes from the listening. Here we go. So the lecture describes about 2 studies to support audience effect. The audience effect which we talked about from the reading. And he actually restates and say that he argues that people work faster when they were aware of being observed. Okay? And he's going to prove this using 2 studies. Okay? All right, so let's go over them. Study number 1. 2 groups were put on shoes that tied. Okay? So basically he put 2 different groups, and basically he asked them to tie their shoes. Okay? But here's the different condition. One group was told that they were being watched, okay? And others was not, okay? So basically, one group was mentioned that they're being watched, so they know that someone else is watching them when they tie their shoes. And the other group was, never mentioned about those things. What was the result? First group tied shoes much faster. Okay, those groups who knew that others were watching, okay, tied their shoes much faster. Okay. Second example, okay, he was talking about the condition where the people, two groups, were able to were learning to type. Okay, so here you see the typewriter, and you see the buttons. Okay, so these are some of the kids, or maybe students, or even adults, learning for the first time how to type. Okay, and the same conditions was given as a study number 1. What was the condition again? Let's go back. Okay, it says one group was told that they were being watched. So same condition. One was being watched and the other was not. Okay, what they found out was that first group typed faster, just like the first study, that the people who are being watched tied shoes much faster. Okay, but because they typed faster, they also made more mistakes. Okay, all right, so what can we know? The professor actually tried to argue, saying that people work faster when they were aware of being observed, and which was stated from the reading, saying that the presence of others tend to alter the way people behave or perform an activity. So whenever you recognize someone is watching you, professor is saying that you perform differently. You perform that task faster, or with more mistakes, or you actually sweat or do other things, other behaviors. Okay, so in this question, in order to answer this question, okay, let's go back to the question once more. Okay, it says, explain how the examples of tying shoes and learning to type demonstrate the principle of audience effect. You first want to define what audience effect is, and then after that, give 2 examples that professor actually talked about. And the reason why he was talking about this was to prove that audience effect actually have some form of results in terms of having different outputs. Okay, and you needed to generate the answer based upon that. Okay, so please have an outline of how you're going to answer this, and make sure to read the question clearly, because you need to answer based upon what is being asked. Okay, and then use that outlines to speak in front of the microphone and record and send it to your teacher and get evaluated. And based upon your evaluation, try to fix some of the things that you have made mistake of. Okay? So we're going to go over question number 5 next.